it's Jen here, ready to take you through a Pilates session today. So today's session, we're going to focus on being kind and being gentle to ourselves, which we should be doing in every single session. But today's is about freeing up the body, but bringing some control and some strength into it as well. We're going to come over onto our backs. Now when we come onto our backs to start with, we're letting the body settle into the floor with the hands rested to the sides of the hips. And we're just going to make any adjustments we need to make ourselves feel more comfortable. So if that's pulling your trousers up a bit, or fixing your top, or readjusting the shoulders, make yourself comfortable on the floor before we even start thinking about alignment. And then we're going to, once you're comfortable, bring our attention to our alignment. So we want the feet and the knees hip width apart, so roughly a fist distance between the knees. We want to have the heels down into the floor, so that when we press them down we can feel both heels coming into the floor without any tension around the knees. And we're also looking for the pads at the bottom of the big toe and the pads at the bottom of the little toe to be able to press down into the floor as well. Now if you're pressing down here and things feel really uneven, then adjust the position of the feet, and that might mean that your feet are a little bit out of hip width, and that has to be okay because not everybody is, in fact nobody is perfectly aligned. So looking for perfect alignment is somewhat crazy. It has to be a little bit negotiable and a little bit what feels right for you. So find that space that when you press both feet down, both legs feel like they're coming alive. Then we're moving our attention to our pelvis. Now to start with, push the lower back down into the floor. As you do that, notice the pubic bone is higher than the hip bones. And then you're going to roll the pelvis away to really create a deep arch in the base of the back. And notice that the hip bones are higher than the pubic bone. And we're just going to roll that back and forward a couple of times, loosening into the lower back, and then finding a space that feels like it's in the middle so that the hip bones and pubic bone are in line with each other and your spine is in its natural curve. Now everybody's back will look different, so don't worry if your back's touching the floor or if your back is a little bit lifted. As long as it feels comfortable and supported to you, then we want to move our attention up to the shoulders. We want a nice long neck, so shoulders are slid down away from the ears, and the shoulder blade is on the floor between your mat and the rib cage. So the ribs are going to slide round into the spine, and your shoulder blade is sitting between the rib cage and the floor. The chin is slightly tucked in so that the neck is nice and long. So if you find that you can't get your head back here and you can't get the chin tucked in without the head lifting, give yourself a pillow so that your neck is a little bit higher in alignment. If you're really rounded at the shoulders, you might find that that's a problem. If you're really tight across the chest, you might find that that's a problem. So make sure that you feel well supported by the floor. Once we've got this, we're engaging the muscles, so we're drawing the tummy muscles in, getting that tightening and narrowing through the waist, making the rib cage a little bit smaller, so that we're flattening and smoothing things out round the centre. We're going to lift up through that pelvic floor, so we're trying to draw the pubic bone and tailbone a little bit closer together. We're going to lightly press the arms down into the floor, and that's just going to help us engage around the top part of the body. Once we've got that, we're going to start in some shoulder bridges. So we inhale here, as we exhale we tilt back. Pubic bone is higher than the hip bones, and then we start to press the feet into the floor, scooping these lower tummy muscles in as we roll the spine up and just bringing ourselves up. Now if your hamstrings cramp here, you might need your heels a bit closer to your backside. If your knees are really tight and uncomfortable here, you might need your heels a little bit further away. Inhale at the top, and as you exhale you're rolling the spine down, so keep the pubic bone higher than the hip bones as you're rolling down so that we're getting this length through the lower part of the spine. And bring the pelvis right back into its neutral position. Inhale at the bottom, exhale, scoop the tummy in as we push the lower back into the floor. Press the feet in, squeeze into the backside and control it all the way up. Inhaling at the top, And exhaling, scooping everything in as we roll back down, creating length in the spine. Back into neutral. We're going to do that another 3 times. So think, is there anything else you can make a little bit tighter here as you're rolling up? Is there any more control you can bring in to allow strength to build? Coming all the way back down. 2 more times. Pressing those feet in, squeezing into the backside. Legs are active, butt's active, tummy's active. And exhaling it all the way back down. And then one last time, really squeeze things in. Inhaling at the top and exhaling, coming all the way back down to the start. And just get a little release into the backside, into the lower back. This is a gentle workout, so we want to feel things working, but we're not working to a point of severe burn. Bring the feet back down, refine that space where the feet and the knees are roughly hip width apart. We can get the 3 bony points of each foot connected to the floor. The hands are rested to either side of the hips and the chin's tucked in. So we're lightly pressing down, create that engagement between your body and the floor. We want to keep that engagement on the puck points that are not moving. So when you're ready on an inhale, your right hand, left leg extends into opposite ends of the mat. Exhale, you bring it back in, reconnect with the floor. Inhale to the opposite side, inhaling out. Exhale back in, reconnect with the floor. Inhale, extend away. Exhale, bring it in, reconnect. Inhale it out. Exhale it in, reconnect. Inhale out. Exhale in, reconnect. So all the time we're keeping muscles engaged. The points that are moving away from each other, imagine that there's a resistance band tied between them so that you're stretching things away and then drawing and controlling it all the way back in. We're going to do that one more time to each side. Inhaling out, exhale in, reconnect. Inhale out, exhale in, reconnect. If your lower back feels like it needs a release, feel free to bring the knees up into the chest or lift the hips and give them a little bit of a sway, anything at all that feels good. If you want to stretch out at any time, stretch out. Reset the alignment, so feet, hips, waist, shoulders, chin. Draw everything in, so we're getting that in and up sensation. We're going to bring the right knee towards the chest and bring the hands around that shin. We're going to extend the left leg away, hovering a couple of inches off the floor. In this single leg stretch, you can keep your head rested on the floor. Inhale to release, exhale to switch to the other side. Or, as long as you can keep the neck and shoulders relaxed, you can bring the head up in towards the knees. Exhaling, inhale, release. Exhaling, inhale, release. Exhale, inhale, release. Exhale. Each exhale, as you pull the knee in, brace the tummy in nice and tight. The leg that's extending out, we're getting that release into the front of the hip. The knee that's coming in, you're hugging it in, we're getting a bit of a release backside and into the back of the hip. And if you brought your head up and you start to feel tension in the shoulders, you bring your head back down. Don't stay there just because it seemed like a good idea at the start. Let's go one more to each side. And then bring both knees in and take a gentle rock from side to side. Feet come down to the floor. Now we're going to bring the feet and the knees together, so we're squeezing the inner thighs in against each other. Pelvis is still in its neutral position. The feet are still pressing down into the floor through the heel and through the ball of the feet. We're going to take the elbows out in line with the shoulders and let the arms fold out as well. The shoulders are still down, away from the ears, drawn back towards each other. We're going to inhale at the centre, and as you exhale, you're going to take the knees over towards the right, but keep that left shoulder in contact with the floor. Inhale, scoop the tummy in as you come back up through the centre, and then exhale over to the other side. So we're letting the hip lift, rotating from the waist. Try to keep this opposite shoulder back and down. Inhale, pull through the tummy muscles up through the centre. Now I always tell my class the first couple of these keep your feet on the floor so that you can check how your lower back feels. If your lower back feels really tight, move smaller movements and really focus on getting the tummy working here. If things feel really loose and it feels good and strong and controlled, we can start to bring our feet up. So you could maybe start with the toes still left on the floor and the heels lifted. And if that feels okay and you want to take it, you can bring the feet up. And you've got the option to have the feet anywhere from being on the floor all the way through to having the legs straight as you go from side to side. Wherever your feet are, the focus is control through the waist and smooth movement using the breath. So if you take the feet up and you do one to each side and then it feels a real struggle, you bend the knees and then go to whatever feels right. And maybe that's enough and you want to bring the feet back down to the floor and work from there, and that's absolutely fine for you to do. It's always tuning in, listening to your body and doing what feels right for it in this very session. Doesn't matter what you did yesterday, doesn't matter what you're going to do tomorrow, it's what you're doing right here, right now. So we're just going to do that one more time to each side. Big focus on the waist. And then bringing it back to the centre, take yourself into any rest position that feels good. We're going to bring the feet back into their standing position, roughly hip width apart. Elbows into neutral, shoulders are back and down. We're going to keep the left foot on the floor and bring the right toe up towards the ceiling. Now if your hamstrings are really tight and you keep your knee bent, don't push the foot up and have the whole leg trembling. It's not going to be any benefit to you. My hamstrings are a little bit tight today, so I'm going to keep my knee a little bit more bent. The hands are down at either side of the hips. The foot that's on the floor, you're pressing it into the floor to find that connection through the points that are in contact with the floor. Now the movement is coming from this hip. As you inhale, you're going to start to draw the circle, and as you exhale, you're going to complete the circle. So if your leg is quite straight, you might want to start with really small circles and gradually work it bigger. Because my knee's a little bit more bent, I can make my circles a bit bigger than I normally would if my leg was straight. Inhale to start, exhale to complete. The rest of the body is staying still, so keep those points connected to the floor. Keep drawing the tummy muscles in. I'm going to do one more circle in this direction and then I'm going to change direction. Inhale, start the circle, exhale, complete. Inhale to start, exhale to complete. Looking for a smoothness. Now as you change direction, you might need to change the size of those circles. Perfectly okay for you to do because you're listening to your body. One more time round. And bring it back. Get the leg as straight as you can. Point the toe, take a big deep breath in. As you exhale, you're keeping the leg straight and slow and controlled, you're going to lower that leg down. So tummy stays tight, backside stays tight. I'm going to get the legs working a little bit here as well. Slowly, 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 all the way, and then when your heel touches down, let the leg relax. Give it a little rock from side to side. Bend that leg, place it onto the floor, find your connection, bring the other leg up. So be aware of how this hamstring feels. They might feel completely different. This hamstring a little bit tighter than the other one today, so I'm keeping that leg a little bit bent. Your leg is wherever feels good for you. When you're ready, connect with the floor. Inhale, start the circle. Exhale, complete. Inhale, start. Exhale, complete. Really exhale from the lower belly. more circle in this direction. And then we're going to change direction. Inhale, start. Exhale, complete. And keep in mind, the circles might be a little bit different as we change direction. Be different from side to side. Inhale, start. Exhale, complete. 2 more times. Inhale, start. Exhale, complete from the belly, and then take yourself into any rest that feels good. Looking for a little bit of space, a little bit of freedom in the body. And then from there we're going to make our way over, and I'll meet you in tabletop, so on your hands and knees. So we want to take some time as we settle in to tabletop. We want to find that space where we can spread fingers out and have the weight a little bit more towards the pinky side of the hands than the thumb side. Our elbows are tucked in but not completely locked out, so we don't want to be double bending back here. Keeping things looking for a straight line. The knees are underneath the hips. And as long as your feet don't cramp, have the toes pointed away. If your feet cramp, tuck the toes under, but press the soles of the feet away, and that will allow you to lift some weight out of the knees. So if the toes are pointed away, as you press the tops of the feet down, that's going to give you that little bit of space on the knees joint as well. Roll the shoulders back, look for that long neck. Now your eyes, we want to have about a foot in front of where your fingers are. So we're not looking down to the knees, but we're also not looking up to the wall ahead of us, keeping that straight neck. Now here, we're lifting the tummy muscles up and in, we're engaging that pelvic floor, we're squeezing into the backside and into the legs, and that's what's going to give us our stability here, and that's what we're looking for, because we're going to be moving opposite hand and leg away, and when we move those points away, we want to maintain that stability. So on an inhale, right hand, left leg, lengthen out, and on the exhale, we bring it in, and we inhale to the other side, and exhale, bring it in. So if you feel really wobbly today, there is nothing wrong with keeping your foot in contact with the floor and bringing it back in, and keeping the foot in contact with the floor and bringing it back in. When I first started doing this, keeping my foot in contact with the floor was what allowed my tummy muscles to actually switch on, and for me to realise what the hell this was meant to feel like. So sometimes going to the harder option, the wrong muscles kick in. So making the movement that little bit smaller allows us to find the muscles we want to work. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Let's do that one more time to each side. And here we're keeping the pelvis as still as you can. Once you've done that last one, bring the big toes together, take the knees wide, step the backside into the heels, and just allow the chest to come towards the floor. Taking a couple of breaths in and out here. From there, bring the hands back in underneath the shoulders. Bringing the knees in underneath the hips. Now I did say this was going to be a gentle practice, but that doesn't mean that we can't do a plank. But the way we're going to move into our plank, we're going to be super gentle with the body. So we set up in our kneeling tabletop, roll the shoulders back and down, create that length and that space in the neck and shoulders. The tummy muscles are drawn in. Now we take one leg back and press the toes in and lengthen that heel out. So before we move into our full plank, we check that that feels okay today. So can we draw the tummy muscles in? If this feels strong enough, then this is where you stay. If you want, you can slide the other leg out behind. We're just going to hold it for 3 or 4 breaths. Each exhale, tummy pulls up and in, squeezing nice and tight. whichever leg went out first, to bring that down first, and then gently bring the other leg to follow. Making any adjustments you need to make. So we're going to do that one more time. So the leg that went out first, the first time round, is going to go out second, the second time round. So other leg goes out first. Press the foot in and check how that feels. Get a strong base. Make any adjustments that you need to make. And then when you're ready, you bring that other leg out to join. So think tailbone tucked under, tummy muscles scooped up and in. Elbows are tucked in but not overextended. Eyes looking beyond the fingertips. And then gently bring the knees down. Big toes together, knees wide, back side in towards the heels, lowering yourself down. If it feels good, let the body rock a little bit from side to side here. We're going to finish off today's session with some cat and cow. Really nice, gentle movement that creates space in the pelvis, space in the spine, space in the shoulders. But when we engage the muscles, we can do that with stability and control, which is what we're looking for. Back up, knees underneath the hips. Roll the shoulders back and down. So to start, I want us to start going into cat from the tailbone. So we're going to tuck the tailbone under, scoop the tummy up, move up, 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 in towards the mid-back, in towards the upper back. Creating space, lastly, bringing the chin in. And then we're going to start to move into cow from the tailbone. So we start to tuck tailbone out, letting the lower back come down, mid-back, upper back, and lastly the chin coming up. Move from the chin first this time, so chin comes down. Lifting the shoulders, moving towards the mid-back. Scoop those tummy muscles up and in as we start to move down towards the lower back. Lastly, the tailbone tucks under. So we really want this focus coming from the tummy muscles as we make these movements. Start from the chin again, lifting the chin, and then let the mid-back, upper back dip, mid-back, lower back, tailbone. Then move from the tailbone, tailbone's tucking under, so really draw those tummy muscles up and in. Working your way up the back, slowly, 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 chin tucking in. And then tailbone again, start to roll it out. Slowly up the body, last to the chin. So one more time each way with the chin leading. Bringing the chin down. So it's almost like a domino effect. We want to curve down the spine. Lastly, tucking that tailbone under and then bringing the chin up. Letting the upper back drop, mid back, lower back, lastly into the tailbone. And then bringing it back into a neutral position. Now if you're going to add any other movements in here, you add your movements in shoulder to hip, rolling the shoulders off, moving the weight back and forward, anything at all that feels good in your body. You can repeat that session as many times as you need. It's quite a gentle session, not too long. It's always about tuning in to your body and doing what feels right for it. So hope you've enjoyed this session, and I'll see you in another session another time.